Welcome to Nab'Ubomi. In this film, I'm just going to go through the rules and guidelines for the competition so that if you want to enter, you know how to do so and you understand the whole process involved. Nab'Ubomi is an inter-school short film competition where learners write screenplays that get selected to go into production. We then mentor the learners through production of those films at their schools, and the films that have been made go into competition against each other for a number of different awards. Every year we have a theme. You need to know what the theme is for the year that you're entering. You're free to interpret that theme however you want, and there are no limitations on that. You can, whatever makes sense to you, you put that into your story. But we look to see if the stories connect in some way with the theme that we've given, so make sure you know what it is. There are a number of guidelines you need to be aware of. The first thing is that this project is for grade 11 learners. That is because grade 12 learners need to focus on their matric, and we've just found the most strategic age to work at. So if you're in grade 11, you're welcome to enter. We would like the writers to write alone. Previously we've had groups team up or do it in pairs, and we've found that the quality of scripts generally isn't as good, or those films haven't done as well in the long run. So we decided to encourage just one person to write their own story. That way you have a single vision that goes right through the whole story, and you're free to make your own creative choices as the writer. Some years we have a pitching process, and then the writer needs to pitch or present their script idea to a panel, or there are different ways that we do it in different years. So if you need to pitch, the writer of the story is the one who needs to present the idea. The writers that are chosen or that make it through selection will be directing their own films. This is really important. Often writers want to act or something instead, but we strongly encourage that they direct the film, because that way they actually get the most out of the experience of the competition. Teachers may assist. We need teachers to assist, and each film needs to have a liaison teacher attached to it that has offered their support to the process. However, the teachers only assist. They are not the ones driving the process. They should not be the ones making creative decisions. And as a team from Nab'Ubomi's side, we support the creative vision of the learner right through the process. So we will always back up the learner if it comes to a learner-teacher conflict or something like that. Teachers may assist, nothing more. The scripts need to be a maximum of 5 pages. If you lay them out in the correct format, which we'll tell you about later, then 5 pages equals roughly 5 minutes of screen time. We are getting stricter and stricter on this every year, and so please don't push us on this. Please, your script must not be longer than 5 pages long, and we ask you to do your best to lay it up in proper screenplay format. We are also getting stricter on schools that have entered in previous years. They need to be hitting the correct or producing the correct format. The teachers have the information. It's quite possible to present it accurately in line with how screenplays are generally written. So if your school has not entered before, we might be a bit more lenient on you. But if your school has entered before, then it's even more important that you get that right. For the films that are selected for production, we spend just a single day filming at each school. And so when you write your script, you need to be aware of this. We can't be filming early morning and late at night, or you might not be able to identify very clearly what the limitations would be. But for us, when we read your script, if we see that we can't do this film in a single day at your school, then we won't be able to choose it. So bear that in mind. We will also only be filming at 5 locations within the school, so 5 different settings. Also, if there's too many locations, too many changes of scenery, then we think quite carefully before selecting your script. I'm giving you some tips here so that we can give you a better shot if you've worked through this film. We also only film on the school premises. In previous years, we've been lenient at times on this, and again, we're getting stricter and stricter. You need to be able to film everything that goes into your story needs to be able to be created and filmed at your school, on location at your school. You can be very creative about that, but just remember that when you're writing your story, we can't be filming Table Mountain if we're in the Eastern Cape. There's some very real dynamics you need to think of. The actors, all the actors need to come from your school, so you can't write your story around some famous person that's agreed to act for you, because they won't be allowed to be in the script, and we will probably eliminate your script and you won't get chosen. So you will have to choose everyone from your school. They don't have to be learners, they can be teachers, and they can be parents, or as long as they are directly connected to your school, they can be involved. You need to avoid any expensive props or costumes. A lot of films have had fun with makeup. Sometimes that doesn't look so good. You've got to think quite carefully about the special effects that you use, because you are responsible for sourcing everything that you use. Makeup you will have to organize yourself. Any blood that you need, any vomit or anything, you need to create that yourself. So you're going to need to find out how to do that and be able to do that and be able to find the things. You can't have a helicopter in the scene. That's just asking a bit much. So think of your own limitations and work within that. You need to include a crowd scene in your story. Now, this is not just a bigger group of people. This is meant to be for your whole school to be involved in the film, so that just in one scene in your story, everyone in the school can be involved. It could be an assembly, lots of people do that, or it could be a sports event. You can think creatively about this. We do have an award specifically for the best crowd scene, which goes to the most creative and effective scene that's made that involves the whole school. And you really need to do this. It's part of the strategy of the whole project that your whole school will be involved in some way. So don't overlook that. If you don't have a crowd scene, we may eliminate your story from the competition. Please avoid heavy swearing and blasphemy. We would like these films to be able to be shared quite freely, and for people to share them with their little brothers and sisters, and for family viewing. Though some of your topics generally, or often some of your topics are quite heavy, and there are some serious things you need to deal with. You're free to deal with those. Please just give some thought to the level of swearing, blasphemy, blood, things like that. Your scripts need to be submitted in English, even though they can be acted in whatever language best suits your story. But we need to get an English version of your script. We need that for the subtitles as well. And if you're going to use vernacular language, then we need to have the English alongside subtitles provided in the script as you send it in. Obviously, this may make your screenplay a little bit longer than the 5 pages. We are aware of that. We will allow for that, but don't push it. In order to enter the competition, you need to have the support of a teacher. I mentioned this just now, a liaison teacher who will help you make this happen within your school if you're chosen. You also need the support of your school headmaster or headmistress, that they agree that we can make the film there if you're chosen. And your parent or guardian needs to sign as well and give you the support, because you are most likely still a minor.